we're part of consciousness raising, of educating, you know, and slowly having these conversations to a point where people are receptive to some of these terms and some of these ideas, kind of like the notion of anti-blackness. There's this really fascinating study that we were in group that we were engaging with last week. We had a Democratic Issues Conference. We bring and we find all these policy experts and studies and all these things. And one of the things that they show is that American perceptions of racial equity, like us rating ourselves as a country and how equitable we are, has been slowly increasing a very large degree, except the actual reality is that it's been flat since the 1980s. So we have made little to no progress, particularly when it comes to the racial wealth gap, but we keep thinking we're getting better and better every year. So even for a lot of well-meaning people, when you tell them that racism exists, it's like, escandalous. I mean, it was really nuts. Even in that interview earlier that I was talking about earlier, a person was like, well, how can you accuse the president of inciting, of having rhetoric that inflames people's passions when you call the wall racist? And I was like, what? But it really came, but there is, you know, we live in a country where acknowledging racism is more offensive than racism itself. And what that tells me is that we have a lot of work to do, is what that tells me. And it means, especially for our white brothers and sisters out there, listen, that hard, frustrating Thanksgiving dinner is the work. You know, it is, it's the work. It's that like, oh, like you don't want to talk to your uncle anymore, and oh, like I love my friend from high school, but he just has this thing, like that is the work. That right there is the work. It's not Fox, it's not, you know, it's not Peter King, it's not like these folks, like they are the symptom of the problem. Trump is the symptom of the problem. Like you get rid of this president, our problems are not over. And so we really need to kind of go back and really have these understandings. And then for our brown folks in the room, Latino brothers and sisters, we need to have conversations about colonialism and colorism in our communities. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about pelo malo, pelo bueno. We need to talk about all of that stuff. I need to talk to my grandma. You know, every time a nephew or niece is born in my family, there's like inquiries as to like the shade of this child. I'm like, what is this? You know, but it is anti-blackness, and even in our overall Latino communities, when it's like anti-blackness, but then there's also like this self-denial that we have as well. It's just an immigrant community, and it can go both ways, and we're all in this thing together, you know.